Tat Talk Webb is back. We got Bob Webb on here. We're going to talk about. We had AI pick the top 5 national championship contenders. AI picked the most likely national championship matchup, and then AL.com had a great story. We're going to start with first on who they think the running backs are going to be. We know Jam Miller's gone. He had 130 carries for 504 yards and 3 touchdowns in 2025. No other running back in 25 had more than 284 yards. That was Daniel Hill. And then the rest of them, Kevin Riley, A.K. Deere, were kind of took up the crumbs. And then we got new transfers of Khalifa Keith, and then freshman E.J. Crowell, and then Trayshawn Brown, who showed out big, and A-Day. The number one contender that AL.com has, they've got Daniel Hill, kind of by default. He's the favorite considering he's the most productive, right? And returning back, knows the system and all that kind of stuff. He had 284 yards and 6 scores. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do, because I watched some practice video, and he has a chiseled body. He looked like a Greek god. Rodney Orr on Tighter Insider refers it to the hoof test, what they actually look like. And he's transformed his body since the season ended. He's sculpted. There's no fat. It's just all muscle. He lost a few pounds, but he gained speed, and he's powerful. And like you said, he was the second leading rusher. He can pound you, and he's fast enough to move around you. Experience. Yeah, I couldn't argue with them suggesting that he would be the probably starter on day one.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm with you on that. Like I said, he dropped about 15 to 20 pounds in the offseason from going from about 240, 245 down to about 220. So I totally agree with you on that. The number 2 contender that AL.com has is Kevin Riley. I disagree. Now, he had some productive moments in 2025. 59 carries, 224 yards, and 2 scores. Now, he had to deal with a broken jaw and all that. Now, he's a little bit smaller. He's like 5'9"-ish, about $180. In my opinion, I totally disagree with this him being the number 2 contender.
Yeah, me too. If I was going to have to guess, just because of the timing and what's in front of and behind, I'm going to go with Deere. I think he knows this is his chance. He wants to get noticed by scouts. Obviously he wants to go into the pros. Most all of these guys have played football since Pee-wee. So they know what's at stake. And for them personally, they see guys on their team, go in the draft to make big money, watches them on NFL Ticket on Sundays. Deere's going to do everything he can to show out this year. And I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how productive he is.
Yeah, honestly, I know it sounds crazy. He is my number 2 for contender number 2. I really like A.K. Deere. I think he'll see a lot of carries. He's a bigger guy, very fast. He's 6 foot and 214. Like I said, he brings some intriguing size and speed as well. And I'm kind of with you. He's got more of an upper hand. I know everybody keeps talking about E.J. Crowell. He's been hurt all spring. He's been hurt most of the summer. I get it. He's highly recruited. I get he's special. Pump the brakes on that. A.K. Deere was one of the top running backs in the country. I think top 3 when he came out. I do think he's the number 2. I'm going to go a little bit crazy. I'm going to go off the plantation here. I'm going to go Trayshawn Brown. Not a highly recruited kid, but he's out of Huntsville, Texas. Big body guy, super fast. In A-Day, he's the only running back that really stuck out. Every time you turned around, that kid was making a play. I didn't look at the stats, and I wish I had. I think he had over 100 yards receiving. He had like 50 yards rushing. Every time you turned around, that kid was making a play. A.K. Deere was good, but wasn't that good. I'm going to go wild card, and I'm going to go Trayshawn Brown for contender number 2.
Mm,
Now, contender number 3, they've got AL.com's got AK Deer. I know you already picked AK Deer, so who is your number 3 contender?
I'd go Trayshawn Brown
Yeah,
just
I mean
because
that's
of what he did.
yeah. You can't argue what he did and what everybody's saying about the kid. And so it's kind of like, well, shoot. Now me, I'm gonna put because I already used up Trayshawn Brown at number 2. I'm gonna take AK Deer for the same reasons we mentioned before. No need to go down that trail again. I think he's my number 3 guy there. Now the number 4 the AL.com has, they got EJ Crowell. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I've watched on YouTube Crowell's high school film. Um, Man, he's outstanding. They couldn't bring him to the ground. If they caught him, he's fast, he's elusive. I would hate to try to tackle him, just to corral him in. I mean, he was the number one back for a reason. And once you see his high school film, yeah, you can tell. He has been hurt, though. How much has he progressed since high school? Because if he's been hurt, they're not going to put him in full contact. So I don't know. I'm sure he's going to heal up. I'm sure he's sitting at the training table every day. He'll be ready to go this summer when we get to two days. What, in August, I guess. So he'll have, almost 3 months to prepare physically. And with the staff at Alabama, they'll have him ready to go. Um, so it'll be interesting to see the first couple of games how that rotation is going to go. Who's going to start? Of course, we kind of figured on, who's going to start their heel, but how they rotate in and out. Um, and of course, it's all going to start up front. Um, as soon as the quarterback turns around and hand the ball, if there's two defensive linemen in their face, they're not going to do anything anyway. But as far as running backs, it's good to have that. I think it's so competitive. Those top 5 guys are so competitive. I think that they're going to push each other and make each other better because of it. In other words, that they're looking over their shoulder to see a guy's right behind him that wants to get in and play too. So I think the competitiveness and the drive that they're going to feed off of each other in practice, hopefully that'll show up in games.
Yeah, hopefully it does. Like I said, I'm totally fine with EJ Crowell. Even Philip Rivers, when they asked him about this kid, he literally said he's the best I've ever seen in high school. Rivers told AL.com before coaching gets to him in November. And Rivers said, I'm looking through a different lens. Obviously, I think back to when I was 17 and what I would be like trying to tackle Cadillac Williams. I think that I would rather try to tackle Cadillac than this guy, which is a very high compliment coming from Philip Rivers. So yeah, I don't have a problem with that at all. Like I said, a lot of it boils down to period offensive line. That goes for any of our offense, any of our production on the offensive side. So I don't have a problem with that at all. Number 5 has Trayshawn Brown. AL.com has their contender as number 5, Trayshawn Brown. I've obviously spent that. So for me, I'm going to put Kevin Riley at number 5 contender right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really couldn't argue with that once you get to like 4 and 5. Um, Similar skill sets, both though not hardly any production because of lack of experience. It's a big deal walking onto a field and going up against the SEC defense. Of course, they're going up against a pretty good one, right now, hopefully, that'll help prepare them. But yeah, it's all going to start on that line. But the speedy guys like Crowell and elusive, um, I think that's going to be Crowell's main contribution to the offense.
Oh, for sure. No, I agree. Also, this next section I put into or number 2 section out of 3. I put in a prompt into Chat GPT and I asked it, what are the teams, top five teams most likely to make the national championship game and why? And we'll go through these and see what you think. And there was no prompting of mine. I just said, looking at all the variables, who do you pick without thinking of anything about me as a person or anything? And this is the five teams it's got. We'll go over I'll tell you the top five, and then we'll go over each reason why. It's got Ohio State, Georgia. It's got the Texas Longhorns, Oregon Ducks. And this was actually shocking. At number five, it's got Alabama Crimson Tide. Like I said, I know I'm an Alabama fan, but I did not put that prompt in there. It literally did it itself. I thought it was pretty funny that it put that prompt in there. But now at number one, they've got the Ohio State Buckeyes, obviously for elite recruiting pipeline, which they always have my whole life. They've done very well there. Strong development at quarterback. Obviously, Julian Sain is a pretty darn good quarterback. He's there. They have a good defensive front, pretty fast and physical. They did lose some guys, obviously. And they do benefit from playing in a loaded but manageable Big Ten conference schedule. They have a pretty decent schedule. What do you think of the number one pick that AI picked?
That's probably who I would pick, just for the reasons that you stated. And another reason, they have a great seasoned quarterback. Saban loved that guy.
Mm-hmm.
But when Saban left, why hang around? He left, but saying he is a great quarterback, and he's only gotten bigger, stronger, faster, better, more experienced. It would be hard to pick or hard to argue against Ohio State at number one. I think everybody's going to have them at number one.
Yeah, and I would say I'd probably flip Ohio State and Georgia. I think Georgia's a little bit better. They have a more seasoned quarterback. Now, these are the AI reasons they said to Georgia Bulldogs, right? They said that they were the gold standard for roster and depth and defensive talent, which its depth is off. Even Kirby Smart said it a few weeks ago. It's not like it was 5 years ago. It's just not. They do have great depth. They have great coaching. Recruiting under Kirby Smart obviously is great. AI said that obviously Georgia has a great offensive balance. It's improved significantly over the years. It's not one-dimensional. And they have a depth handle and pretty good with injuries. I would have them as number one, but I don't have a problem with them at number two. And everything we've looked at, we've talked about here on the channel before, they have the most seniored roster in college football. And I think that gives them an edge at number one, personally. And they didn't lose a lot of guys in the portal. They lost some, but not massive amounts. I think they're going to make the strongest push. Do you agree with them at number two?
Yeah, experience matters. Just look at last season, Indiana. They might not have been the greatest, and I think the draft proved that. The offensive and defensive linemen, but they were experienced. They were together, 3-4 years, some of them maybe 5 years, playing next to one another. They could probably read each other's thoughts. So they really played like an orchestra. They knew what they were doing. They've done it over and over and over all through the years. So, yeah, it's hard to argue with experience and how much that's going to count when you get into the depth of the schedule. So, yeah, I don't think there's probably much difference there between 1 and 2 because they're both great teams.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, it's one of those things that injuries are going to have a lot to do with this too. Number 3, I disagree with. I think they're a top 10 team, but I don't think they should be this high. And it's got Texas Longhorns. Now, Texas has stacked up talent and recruiting classes together. We know they're putting a lot of money in NIL. They had a great NIL class, right? Both sides of the ball, the championship quality. And this one was a big one. AI said, and I quote, if the quarterback position stays stable, they have enough speed and skill talent to beat anybody. And then it said, moving deeper in the SEC competition should harden them for the playoff matchups rather than hurt them. I disagree. I think quarterback is their Achilles heel right now. Like, we haven't seen him play this year. He was their Achilles heel last year. and he struggled, and I think he was overrated. And I feel like that maybe they shouldn't be maybe 6 or 7. I don't think number 3. Now they've added a lot of pieces, a lot of skill pieces. So if he can be manageable, they are set up to make a run in the playoffs. I don't doubt that at all. I just don't know if they're number 3 in my book. How do you feel?
Yeah, the same. I'm not head over heels over Manning. I do like that he's fast. He does have some experience, but I don't know. Just in the big games when they had to do it, they really didn't do it. So yeah, 3 may be a little bit high. I'd feel more comfortable with them like it maybe 6 or 8. Um, yeah, I'm just not sold on Manning yet. I want to see him do it first, and he
Yeah, I
hadn't
do
showed me
too.
that much.
Number 4 has got the Oregon Ducks. Now they're great. They have a big NIL budget. They're very fast. Great quarterback, senior quarterback coming back. Now they made the transition to the Big Ten, which has helped. They've helped them toughen up and get better, have credibility and strength of schedule. They're very athletic, and they match up with the SEC. They got a lot of SEC guys. I honestly am not going to put them top 5 because they always poop the bed in the playoffs. They have a history of doing it. They've been to the national championship with those loaded rosters, one time in the last like 15 years. Um, I'm just not putting them that high until I see them do something. And now they have the talent to do it. They have the coaches to do it. They have put out the money to do it. I don't agree with them being top 4.
Well, it's kind of like Alabama. Sometimes they may not have the best team, but they have championship experience. How are you going to do in the championship game, or the pressure of a semifinal game, or get to your conference championship? Uh, does that make you better? Are you going to perform at your peak? Um, Oregon, sometimes when they come against a really good team in a big game, yeah, they kind of sputter. So I don't know if it's just lack of championship, lack of a lot of football is mental because they're all great athletes. Once you get in the top 10, I mean, they're all great. But how do you handle the pressure, knowing all the eyes are on you, the pressure of, you're making all this NIL money. It's almost like professional ball. Your next year's paycheck may depend on how you do in the championship. How are you going to operate under pressure? So I think if once Oregon, if they can win some really big games that they have to win, I'd feel more comfortable then.
Yeah, I agree. Number 5 surprised me the AL came up with this, even after looking through data. It had Alabama. It said even after coaching transition changes, Alabama still recruits at a top 5 level, overall team speed and defensive ceiling, championship caliber, Alabama's culture and playoff experience in the 12-team format. It basically says if offense becomes more consistent at quarterback, they could peak late in the season. Classic Alabama teams. I get it. I'm not putting them in top 10 to make the national championship this year because there's too many variables. You got a new offensive line that's gutted with a new coach that he don't have his guys. You've got basically new running backs. You've got new quarterbacks or a quarterback, new defensive line. I just would I be shocked if they made the playoffs? No, but they got murderers row in November, and if you can't come out of there with 2 losses or less, you're not going to the championship or a playoff spot because we don't have the luxury like teams like Notre Dame just to fart around, make your own schedule, don't be part of a conference, don't play in any conference championship game, and just you got a sweetheart deal. If you finish top 12, good on you, I guess. We don't have that, so it's you know I just want to come out of November with 2 losses, to be frankly honest with you, and
Mm-hmm.
not doing about the offensive line, not doing about that defensive line, all new linebackers. I'm not putting them top 10 to make a championship. I'm just not. I'm hoping to get to the playoffs. I'm just being honest. Um, don't know why AI did it, but that's what they did. What do you feel about it?
Uh, I just lost all faith in AI. Alabama should not be higher than 14 or 15. No way. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be. We don't know who our starting offensive linemen are going to be. We don't know who our starting defensive linemen are going to be. We don't know if we're going to have a go-to tight end that the quarterback needs. Um, Man, way too many questions, way too much lack of experience at key positions. Um, and you've got a new offensive line coach. How's he going to work with Grubb? You know,
Yeah,
how is that hierarchy going to work?
no, I agree, and you're right on
I
that. Like
don't
I said,
know.
and that's why I'm not even questioning. I'm like, yeah, there's just too many variables. It's too shaky. I'll go ahead and settle a quarterback question right now. I think Keelan Russell wins it. Just going to be honest, but there's too many other variables outside of him that I don't feel comfortable with. Now to finish this one out, uh, AI said that just outside the top five to go to the national championship, and I disagree with 90% of them. They said Penn State. No, you got gutted, totally gutted, and then new coach. Nope, not buying that. Notre Dame, you always shit the bed in the playoffs. Not buying you. LSU, you got gutted. You got a new coach and a totally new roster. I think you got a pretty good coach, definitely an upgrade. The roster probably upgraded a little bit, but we'll see. They've got Clemson Tigers, not happening. And this is the only one I kind of agree with. The Michigan Wolverines. They got a more of a senior laden team coming back. Kyle Whittingham always puts one hell of a team on the field, and he's actually got talent now. So that could be, with a good schedule, they could get to the playoffs realistically right now.
Hmm.
So, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, their big game is going to be Ohio State. I don't know where that game's going to be played at, um, but they do have to go through the Big Ten. Got to play Michigan State. Got to play several decent teams. Of course, it's not an SEC schedule,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, the experience factor. I think I don't know if the computer really pays much attention to that.
Mm-hmm.
But you look at the Alabama teams that won those national titles. Man, they were packed with juniors and seniors,
Yeah,
especially on the lines. And we don't even know who our five is going to be on
no, it's
either side of
true.
the ball. So to put us at five, goodness gracious, I don't want to play anybody good for the first few games because I want to see who's going to start and how they perform.
No, I agree. The reason I agree with the Michigan is I'm looking at their schedule right now. They play um, WMU. They play OU, which is Oklahoma. That's not going to be an easy game. They play that game. That's not going to be an easy one. Oklahoma. Then they play UTEP, Iowa, Minnesota, Penn State. That'll be easy. Indiana's not going to be easy for them. It's just not. Um, and then you got Rutgers, Michigan State. Oregon's not going to be easy for them either. But that strength of schedule is going to build, the credibility, right? Then they play UCLA and Ohio State, so they got some tough games in there, but it's
Hmm.
manageable, and they're spread apart. They're not back to back to back, which is so favorable for them. So that's good. Asked Ohio State the most likely championship matchup right now before injuries, and I agree with this. Actually, they said Ohio State versus Georgia Bulldogs. Um,
Yeah.
and like I said, I really agree. Now they said, or AI said that they thought Ohio State would win it. What's your thoughts?
Well, it's hard to argue against Ohio State. I agree that Notre Dame they're going to back into the playoffs every year because they're only going to play one tough game a year. So go ahead and ink them in for the playoffs. But I don't know how far they're going to go because they're going to have to play some really good teams. So
Yeah.
I don't put them in the championship game. Georgia has so much experience. They do have depth, not like they used to, but they still have depth and
Yep.
recruit, one, two, three, every year since Kirby's been there. They've got talent stacked. Alabama has not had that um, because it's like we forgot how to recruit other than quarterback. We slam dunked on a quarterback, but as far as interior linemen and offense and
Swing and a miss.
defense, it's like we dropped the ball. And
Yeah.
then I really don't. I wouldn't give a big raise to our defensive line coach, and the new coach for the offensive line. He's going to have to show me something. He's going to
Well,
have to prove that he deserves that paycheck. And he didn't get to pick all the guys that he wanted. So he's taking somebody else's team and trying to find a cohesive unit. He's got the toughest job in college football.
you got to give him 2 years. But I also
Yeah,
think Grubb is going to be on the hot seat if he shows some craziness like he did last year and goes
yeah,
out of halftime with the same game plan and just throws poop at a wall. He's going to be in trouble too. Like I said, I could be wrong. I really do wish that DeBoer would have kept Tommy Reese.
yeah. Grubb, after what he did at Washington with DeBoer, I thought, boy, he's going to be the answer. And then he goes to Seattle Seahawks. They couldn't wait to get rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
And so he got fired and came down here. I thought, well, maybe he's going to. Him and DeBoer have coached for many years together. So, that's good. We should really be tearing it up. No, we didn't. And then when things weren't working, we didn't adapt. We didn't change. Don't wait till halftime to make changes. Make changes on the field right then and there, whether it's first quarter, second quarter. But yeah, we came out with the same game. Nothing surprised me. So
No.
nothing would surprise our opponent, the defense that we played against. So I don't think Alabama has that fear factor anymore like they used to.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody wanted to play Alabama late in the season because by then we were seasoned. Saban had everybody rocking and rolling. You didn't want to play Alabama. And you give Saban 30 days or more to get ready for an opponent, it's automatic win. But with DeBoer and Grubb, I don't think that they put fear in anybody's eyes.
But I mean, let's be really honest. I don't think anybody does except for maybe Georgia. I mean, and you can say what you want to say about Kirk Signetti. He's a good coach, but let's see what he does 2 years from now, 3 years from now. He's a very good coach, but I mean, when we hired DeBoer, you think anybody was scrambling to get Kirk Signetti? I mean, who was scrambling for that guy? I mean, the only other guy that I thought was really good that I wanted, which the Alabama, there was no way in hell they were going to hire him, was Lane Kiffin. I thought, yeah, I'd gamble on him, obviously. And we probably should have, to be fair, but the boosters weren't going to do it. And the only other guy after him, I wanted Mario Cristobal. But it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, and I don't think firing DeBoer right now, even if we have a bad season next year, would make a difference if you hire somebody else. You got to go through the process. You got to get your guys in there. As great as Saban was, uh, when we had Pete Golden, we looked very pedestrian on defense, to be fair. Very pedestrian for years. So, I mean, you got to have the right guys, and I think with that, hopefully, that, the offensive coordinator turns it around. Hopefully he does some good things, but if not, I mean, he should be on the hot seat too. If you show me the same product and it doesn't get better throughout the season, then now the
Yeah,
offensive line coach, I'll give you 2 years. But
yeah,
DeBoer or the offensive coordinator, at Bama, you got to show me something by the end of this. Show me some progression, and let's go from there. But no, I feel the same way. But it'll be interesting. I thought it was a very interesting topic for AI to bring up. Like I said, 99% of this stuff is really game plan and how that offensive line shakes out and gets better and gets better. Throughout the year will be huge. But anyway, well, that's Tide Talk Web. That's the episode. See you later.